And coming from a coalition that used to be like 10K, or alliance that used to be like, what, 10K strong, 12K strong? Half of those are fucking just running parchment sites or spinning Ishtars in Frat space. Completely AFK.
I can tell you they're not running parchment sites.
I don't think they'd last very long in Pokemon as far as I've heard.
I don't see a test running around in there.
I wanted to let the conversation keep going, but the show has started. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode. Well, I mean, it's a good conversation. See, that's what I've noticed, right? If I just let people talk about whatever they want to talk about, good things tend to happen. I don't know why. Anyway, welcome everyone to this week's episode of Work About Wednesday. A lot has happened to me. Well, it happened previously. It's just I haven't really been paying attention. Anyway, let's not talk about that. So today we've got some very special guests, and if you're returning, you guys just want to go and introduce yourselves.
I guess I'll start at the top. I am Rhea. I am from Goonswarm. I mostly focus on moon mining, PvE, and general helpfulness. So that is me.
I am. Good afternoon, good evening, folks. My name is Shattered Armor. I am the head FC/military director for Brave Collective. I live in Pureblind. I drink and I know things.
Guess I'll go next. I'm Nadrad. I shoot ships and I steal Faction 4s from time to time.
Luigi Cadorna. I am a delivery agent at Wingspan Delivery Services.
So we got a UPS worker, we've got a drunk man, and I'm not sure what Nadrad would be, but interesting. So.
Got Eve Online here. That's what we've got. I got people doing different things, saying different stuff, and doing different jobs. That's Eve, ladies and gentlemen.
End stream?
What?
Call it a wrap. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, welcome to Eve, guys. Hey! Here, take my link. Here, take my link real quick for 1 million free SP. Thank you very much.
Yo, for giving out links, use mine.
Yeah, use mine. I need to get that Marshall. Please and thank you. For our next boss lead. Thank you.
So...
I noticed the stream still has the Navy Dreads up, but I believe we're past that whole...
They look
good. They're nice to look at, that's true, but we're just kind of, now that Uprising is out, and I think we discussed the changes and stuff, so.
I've been trying to talk on the wrong mic.
You've been trying to talk and it's not working?
I've been trying to talk on the account that's Danny, and even though I have...
Why are you logged into 2 accounts at a time?
Because he wants to do a Fountain Frank thing for some reason.
Okay, no, actually, it does serve a purpose. It's so that I can basically just have my main streaming PC just have all of the audio.
Purpose.
Transmitted to it. Because I noticed that if we're all like talking out the speakers and it's receiving audio, then we all sort of sound the same. And it doesn't make it it serves a purpose, trust me. I thought through this a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So we'll crack into it. Shattered. Are you a goon pet now?
Oh wait, we're back on Trash Talk Tuesday again? Shit, I'm really too sober for this.
I still want to hear you guys pick up where you left off, because I fucking have no clue what went down.
I barely remember what happened last night. It went downhill fast.
Yes.
Only the second Trash Talk Tuesday in what, 6 months?
There was many alcohols. That's why I didn't participate longer than like 5 minutes. They were like, oh, I want to ask a goon a question. There's no goon, so I popped in. Then they were too distracted by their own him-hawing to actually ask a question. So I was like, all right, bye, peace.
It was a gong show, I'm not gonna lie.
But the current hublubbing I've seen on the Reddits is that Brave has the audacity to ask for help from other people, supposedly. And
when fighting Horde, who has absolutely nothing against bringing main fleet when they're getting outnumbered by GTC. Weird how that works. But when we do it, we're bad phoning. When they do it, it's a third party.
Yes.
That's what I'm being told.
Horde is totally honor brew third partying by using frat buildings and frat infrastructure
I mean,
to move around,
I guess
and only shooting Brave. And
I
in
guess
it.
I guess by definition it isn't third party because they're just bringing the rest of their coalition to show up. But the problem is that's like the entirety of PanFam. The only reason
are pretty large.
Winterco isn't showing up to these timers is because Winterco doesn't have any UTZ because we just spent the last 3 months beating them into submission. And Winterco can only form like 30 people in a UTZ now.
How
After
does
they-
a fight between a CNTZ and a EU/USTZ group really go?
It's a lot of alarm clocks, typically only on weekends, but sometimes we do weekday stuff too. Holidays are always really sketchy because it's the one window that either side can actually push another structure in a final timer on the opposite side and then just like CTA everyone and try to complete the timer. I don't know if you know, but in China they have a week-long national holiday in the first week of October called Golden Week. We called it Hell Week, which it did turn out to be a Hell Week, but not for us. There was a few pretty spicy battle reports that came out during the first week of October in pure blind of Frat CTAing and keeping their guys up till like 2-3 in the morning to try and reinforce some GTCI hubs, and then it just turned into like this absolute content farm where we were just dumping like 300, 400 hacks at 0 on them and farming capitals for like an hour. It was something else. They did it like 2 days in a row, and then they just kind of said, "Yeah, fuck it, we're not CTAing in against GTC and Brave structures anymore."
I mean, would you CTA against theirs? Like,
no, because we don't need the space. Like, we had our 3 regions, and we were happy, and we were content with the amount of space we had, until Frat decided that they wanted the space. They wanted to kick GTC out of Fade and Declan because they were not happy that the people that they kicked out of Tribute and Venal were now blue and part of the GTC, the Greater Trash Coalition, which is Volta and Boss Alliance, and we formed Blob and a bunch of other groups. Not Toilet Papers anymore, Code Alliance. You get the idea.
so what it kind of sounds like a bunch of the little guys that were getting beaten up by a big guy decided, hey, we're all getting beat up by this big guy. You want to just be friends? And
Well, it wasn't even that. It was just literally Frat was just cutting a path across the north, and anytime they would kick a group out of their space, they would give them the option, hey, you can join us, or you can leave. And the ones that left, most of them just wound up going to the GTC because they were close, and they also weren't on great terms with Frat because they'd had fought a war previously, about a year and a half ago now. And again, Volta just absolutely wailed on Frat for like a few months, and then Frat decided, yeah, this ain't worth it, and went back to grabbing. And then a year and a half later, Frat thought they would try their luck again, and their numbers had grown quite a bit. They had built themselves up pretty solid at UTZ, except now GTC had also spent that time building themselves up too, and now they had suddenly a fairly large, many more pilots at their disposal that they could work with, and so that's exactly what they did. We were forming, I think, at the start of this war, Frat could probably put like 1,000 people online, but we could also put like. With ourselves, we could also put maybe 600, 700 people online, which in a defensive war, when you're defending things like SOV and structures, is actually perfectly sufficient.
But when you're because Frat aggressed on them, right? Like Frat started everything, or was it mutual? For like the beginning of everything? I mean, obviously, I know GTC was killing their renters, or them crabbing, but. No.
I think what
Did
you're.
Shatter die?
I mean, I think what
Maybe.
you're asking is what started the war?
Well, he had said that GTC had been attacking them, ratting in certain places. I assume Frat started everything, and that changes just from like experience with the wars like I've been a part of or others,
So if you
that
go back to the
we
very
watched.
beginning, this
Mhm.
war goes back a couple years because, like I said, Volta and Frat would at it once, and then Frat, took more space. They carved a path across Nullsec and took all of Tribute, all of Branch, basically 4.5 regions under their control. And after taking all this space, they then turned their eyes on NPC Null, which is Venal, the NPC Null region in the north. And Venal actually had inhabitants at the time, which were Boss Alliance. And if any of you guys remember earlier in the year, Boss Alliance was kind of having a little bit of a spat with them, and Frat had agreed to this, I guess, non-invasion pact after Boss was causing them a bunch of problems, and he just decided to, I guess, throw Boss some hush money. But then my assumption is Nereus had realized that making all these agreements with small groups to get him off his guy's back wasn't paying off, so we decided to start pushing them around again because they were, all up in his business, and he didn't like that because most of his business involves making money and not actual PvP. At least that's kind of what Winterco is built around. But anyways, so they go to under deployment to Venal, and they bring in PanFam pretty heavily for this. We had there's literally entire PanFam super fleets dropping in NCPL super cat fleets dropping in Venal to kill Boss Alliance structures. And as this was happening, Boss is like, well, okay, obviously we're not going to be able to hold our own, but they had already talked to Volta and GTC and had a working relationship with them, and we actually had helped them defend a few of those timers from PanFam because, nothing else to do, right? It's right next to us.
Yeah.
So we had our boss comes into Fade and moves their stuff to GTC staging in C4C and officially joins the coalition, and now Fraternity is looking into the numbers that GTC is forming, and not only is GTC forming some pretty heavy numbers, but they, for whatever reason, thought that if they threatened Brave, we would just sit around in Pureblind and watch all of the GTC and all of Banderlogs get glassed around us. Obviously, that wasn't happening because that would never look good on us in the long term, right? Not only would it not look good on us, it wouldn't be good for us, because once the GTC is gone, what are we left with? We're surrounded by Fraternity on 3 sides. Funnily enough, it would have actually given us a really good opportunity to start forming a working relationship with Snuffed Out, but it never really turned out, and Snuffed Out kind of also just a bunch of them went AFK at the same time. But it was really fun because now we had a new coalition that we could fly with. That was basically we had a very close relationship because Brave throwing in with GTC essentially doubled our strength overnight, them and ours, because we're pretty much at a parity of what they form for subcap fleet size. So suddenly, rather than having to fight 300 people in every timer, Frat found themselves having to fight 600 people in every timer. And suddenly the odds were much more even than they would have been otherwise if we had just sat around and watched GTC get raised out of the north, which we weren't going to do because it didn't make any sense for us. And it didn't make any sense for the game. Once a Chinese time zone alliance that has no real competition takes Spisov and puts a bunch of routers in that space and runs at the ADMs, that Sov is essentially unavailable to any European or North American alliance that wants to take it back. Now, don't get me wrong, they would be spread pretty thin, but ADMs would always be very high, and they would have plenty of warning if they needed to move large numbers of fleets, plus 1,000 guys, into an area to defend a sub structure, for example. That will be well within Frat's capabilities. They have, I don't know if you've looked at the map of Frat's Ansiblex network, but it's very extensive. You can get from the low-sec Keepstar in Metropolis, the one that they anchored in... Oh, geez, where is it?
I always found it a bit concerning
Yumon?
that time zone tanking is still a problem.
Is it Yumon? No, it wasn't Yumon. Otacella, I think. No, Oigenin.
I mean, what are
You
you
can get
gonna
from-
do?
So you can get from Oigenin to the border of Pureblind in about 11 jumps through the Frat Ansiblex network. Which means that they live in the middle of Vale, and they can control all 4.5 regions they control from the middle of Vale. Within, like, sub 20-minute response time, which is all you need if you're trying to defend a structure or a iHub.
I mean, northern nullsec is pretty boxed in, at least geographically looking at it.
Oh yeah, very, and that's a nice thing about where we are. We're at a very nice position in Fade, Branch, and Declan, because the only approaches that they can make, the big regional crossings to the north, like the northern tip of the map, you can't put supers across. You can't Titan bridge anything. The only way they can actually get to the west, like the only way they can cross that divide is through Pureblind and Eastern Declan. Other than that, they don't really have any real, like, projection capabilities into that part of the north. So we were able to very easily stonewall them in the northern part. It's just Pureblind became very heavy fighting, and Declan became a lot of places where they started, like, dropping Fortizars all over the place. And, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, structures don't do anything if you're not willing to or capable of taking the sovereignty. And as we saw in the Battle of Attack N, Frat did not have the capability to take one of our iHubs in our prime time, in a defensive time. Now, it was a pretty key iHub. It was definitely probably the largest form we ever would have had as at the coalition level, but it was still 800 versus maybe 1,000, not including the other groups like the random third parties that came in for that timer that just wanted to shoot Frat. All we had to do was control our home constellation and win a few iHub nodes, which we did. And don't get me wrong, it was a hard battle, but we shut down Frat's headshot attempt on essentially the opening weeks of the war. This would have been maybe 3-4 weeks into the fight, and from that point on, they never were able to seriously make a play on an iHub after that point. And till this point, like, it's been 4.5 months now, and Brave in the GTC, BTC never really caught on, but the BTC is still holding its own just fine in the northwest of the map, when we have technically been at war with Frat since the beginning of July. Now, if you want to talk about Horde, that's another interesting matter altogether.
I see.
So what?
Pesky Hordelings.
Also, I just want to quickly welcome Sabbat, the True Galavian Times streamer. If you're not following him, you should totally give him a follow and help him reach partner.
Partner. And make fun of Horde.
Yes, sir.
Well, actually, now we're talking about Frat, which Sabbat, I believe a couple of shows ago you talked about how you knew of some of your friends who had done some shenanigans with Frat.
Oh yeah. That's the Turner incident.
Oh, Turner was wild, dude.
Yeah.
I was there. Fucking damn.
The trolling that whatchamacallit, Drakeiden did with Frat, where he told them Turner was going into Pokvin, and they set up a Fortizar in between the transmuter and the sun, like right in the beam, and then their Fortizar went pop, and it was full of capital ships.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was pretty amazed at how few caps I saw like right there at the moment, but I don't think they were at the sun. They were probably like all docked up or something.
Yeah, there was stuff docked up.
Oh yeah, because they all thought it was gonna go Pockvin and they wanted to move their caps into Pockvin.
Yep.
So, just so that I have those stories straight. So, Frat started pushing in on Declan and Fade, and where does I don't know if you ever said this, but where does Brave fit into this story?
Well, Brave lived in Pureblind, and we were completely on our own at the time. We had no blues. We had diplomatic agreements with our neighbors, with Frat and the GTC, because we had recently left Frat space, and we were still using their keep store to store our supers. And GTC, we were just neighbors, so we had various. We'd had diplomatic discussions. We had no formal nips at the time, but we weren't obviously going out of our lengths to poke each other because there was no point. Brave was still essentially licking our wounds from World War B2 in the south, and Frat was, or GTC was gearing up for the expectation that Frat was probably going to go to war with them pretty soon. The Boss Alliance stuff was probably the catalyst that started this, but there was a few other things too between then and that stuff involving Banderlog's Alliance and some Ansiplexes, and like I talked about last night on Trash Talk Tuesday, burner mission drama.
So this all came back to Frat wanting to crab.
Essentially, yeah, is what it basically looked like. Obviously they had an axe to grind with Volta from the wars in the past. The fact that all of the people that they were trying to defeat and absorb, instead of just bending the knee to Frat, going towards the GTC instead, they weren't happy about that, because Frat just wants to get bigger and expand, and if you aren't recruiting more players, you can't really expand, especially when you're trying to control 7 regions.
I don't know why, but I keep thinking back to another certain group, totally not goons, but that tried to control 7 regions up north, and then a bunch of guys got together with the help of some casino money.
That was a threesome gone bad, and you know it.
I'm sorry, what?
That's the story, the real story.
A threesome gone bad.
Yeah.
I just remember goons glassing the north during the Southern War, and all of the NC renter space just not even being defended. Them just the second goons are like, oh yeah, we're gonna deploy up to Fade, and we're gonna just glass the north, and it was quite literally Brave. PanFam was deployed down south along with who the hell were they? Volta, and ironically was one of the groups that was at war with us at the time. Skill yourself, Volta. I think they called themselves the PIBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the wormhole groups? This is going back to 2018, 2019 maybe. They had been deployed. They had just kicked the Russians out of the drone regions, and they owned the drone regions. They were renting it, and they were deployed down just to shoot Legacy because they could. And PanFam was backing them because, for whatever reason, PanFam was on board with these wormholers kicking out the Russians from drone regions. Look who controls drone regions now. Funny how that works out. But anyways, that happened, and then oh, hang on, lose train of thought. Sorry. But anyways, the whole point is when Fraternity was down south, when the Winter War was being fought, we were defending ourselves from Volta and Skillu and PanFam. While that was happening, the goons came up to here, and they glassed NC and all the renters and just killed a bunch of Keepstars because they all had their supers deployed down to Legacy space in the south. which was pretty funny. So they basically had keep stars that were dying, and they couldn't contest them whatsoever. So that was fun for groups. They got a summer of just shooting stuff up here. And the following year, we were trying to kick Frat out of the south again because they had moved into Declan, I want to say, the Torrid. They moved into Torrid, and at the time,
Nadrad.
yeah, when Skilju and Volta and those guys kicked the Russians out of the drone regions, Legacy gave them safe harbor. We helped them extract. We moved all their supers, and then they took a region on our eastern border. And the promise was that one day we would get them some of their own space. We would help them retake some land, and that land just ended up being where Fraternity lived at the time. The Torrid, Wicked Creek, that area. Nadrad, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, now they
Nadrad-
moved into where Test used to be, right in Paragon Soul.
No, I don't think anyone.
Some of the Russians moved there, I believe.
Some of the Russians have taken space. That's only because they were getting pushed by Imperium from the west, from the southwest, like through Ketch and Nemencia and stuff. So they needed a bit of fallback ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty deep into like military history and even all these like past 4 years of wars, but it actually builds up something because the point is, Fraternity, unfortunately, as big as they are and as much space as they own, they have never actually won a defensive war on their own. They basically, the only time that their space has been under pressure was when they were being evicted from Torrid by Legacy, and they lost that war. It took like 9 months of fighting. It was a really hard fight, and they had Elo Knight FCing for them right up until the end. And they still wound up eventually losing those items. That's when we first got to see how powerful jammer nets were. If you could completely jam an entire region and prevent anyone from being able to, do anything but gate into it, and how much power that gave you as a group. That's when we first saw how powerful those jammer nets were, at least contemporarily, like when it turned from being pause structures to ansiblexes. And it was pretty nuts to see Fraternity hold their own. Like, yeah, again, they had Pan Fam and stuff supporting them on some of these timers, but eventually they lost. We cracked one eye hub, and after one eye hub cracked, the whole jammer net basically collapsed, and they knew that they weren't able to hold it. So eventually they sued for peace, and they retreated up to the north, and they moved into the drone regions, and then they started expanding westward. It took a couple years, but they eventually took those 4 regions for themselves. But to go back to what I said earlier, anytime they were expanding, they were kicking groups out, they were asking them to bend the knee. A lot of those groups were not happy to get kicked out of the north, and many of those groups wound up allying themselves to GTC, which brings us into our current state of affairs, where the GTC and Brave are now basically doing what they can to prevent Fraternity from expanding any further in the north, because I honestly don't think Frat needs any more space. If you can't, contain yourselves with 4.5 regions, I think you need to reevaluate how your alliance functions from a PvE standpoint.
Yeah, Frat space is pretty dead when I go through it. They're pretty spread thin already.
Frat space has been dead for like a while.
Yeah, just kind of interesting how they hold it for as long as they do. We also kind of have Vinal kind of sandwiched in there, so even though it's NPC and all, it feels like they kind of own it.
Venal belongs to Boss Alliance. They are the Fremen of the North.
Yeah. I do wonder how big NPC nullsec has an effect on actual nullsec politics.
I mean,
is it that important
only,
really, or is it just
it only becomes a factor when you're trying to invade somebody because they're easy approach vectors, places where you can just spam structures, but knowing that you don't have a defensive footing in the region because you have no way to jam space, you have no way to install ansiblexes, and you're fighting on very even ground. There's no way to get a real upper hand in that space unless you have a lot of power to swing around, and you can just deploy keep stars with impunity. In which case, you just do a slow creep across the regions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Slow creep. I mean, it didn't work for Pappy, but makes sense. So all this is happening. You guys fight the war. Um, the war 7 months ago that ended, correct?
I think so.
7 months ago? Which one?
Or 4 months ago when Frat tried to invade Declan and failed.
That's when the war started. It was 4 months ago.
Okay, so it's
And
still going on.
There's been no official, announcement or policy saying that we're not going to keep trying to attack Nadrad or Fade, Fade or Declan, but I think we have not really seen any real action from fraternity since the end of Golden Week, so beginning of October. So going on almost a month now since they've made any real attempts to do anything aside from roaming for content, third-partying fights between us and Horde, which was really disappointing because Horde deployed. If Horde had deployed like in the middle of the summer rather than waiting until like the end of October, they would have actually gotten much more content they're getting now. Because now it's like they're literally deployed next to Brave and nobody else. There's no one else in the region. There's Quote Alliance, but they're like French and they're very small. And then Fade and Declan are under Jammernets, but there's not really any point to put Pureblind under a Jammernet because it's NPC null right smack dab in the middle of the region. It's got 2 NPC null constellations in the middle. So it doesn't bring anything useful to the table to start spending all this ISK on trying to jam systems, because you can just fly anywhere you want in the region and not worry about it and be within a few jumps of Brave space.
There's a wormhole in and light a sign out,
yeah, or Blobs Bridge or whatever. Like, so we've had good fights with Horde. It's been really steady content. They're big. They're very. We're very EU strong in Brave and most of the GTC. It's essentially an EUTZ coalition. So our USTZ tends to be when a lot of people have just logged off or are quietly ratting for the night, and that's when they go around and just shoot a few Athenors, reinforce some Lexes, things like that. And EU comes around and we dance around again, and that's usually when the big fights have happened. That's when we had that Fortizar that we were online against Tech N on Sunday, I believe, and that's when Horde jumped a Cap fleet right into Brave staging, which is pretty ballsy, and they did that on a Frat free port, and then put the carriers out.
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was about to say, I actually want to talk a little bit about the Frat Freeport and how that exactly happened.
I mean, they dropped it in Chinese prime time and online in Chinese prime time, and they had all of China in our staging, make sure it online successfully. There's really not much you can do when they have 1,000 people sitting on a Titan bridge 3 jumps away.
Yeah,
it's just that's just the reality of time zone tanking, and as we said earlier, during like when you're fighting a group that has a strong time zone in one time zone and you're strong in another time zone, it just becomes a big stalemate. And yeah, sure, we could do the same thing and drop structures in their space in EUTZ, but like we did never at no point did we say we wanted to invade their space. They're the ones that said they wanted to come in here and take our space. And they also, Nereus was pretty adamant about the fact that he would be punishing Brave for allying ourselves with Volta and the rest of the GTC. He stated something almost in verbatim to that in one of his earlier mill updates at the start of the war, that Brave would be punished for refusing to just bend the knee and sit by while Frat essentially took all the space around us and turned it into ratting space.
When it's like bending the knee, I mean, that's how you get a stale game. It's just everyone bends the knee. I mean, not bending the knee is more
exactly
fun.
It would not, like, at the end of World War B2, we made it very clear to our members that Brave was going to strike it out as an independent alliance, and we weren't actually going to choose to ally ourselves with any of the major powers at the time. Volta wasn't really a major power at the time, but obviously now that Volta and Brave and GTC and Brave work together, we're I would say we're a mid-size coalition. You know, if you want to look at the only heavy hitters in the game being PanFam and GTC, or sorry, PanFam and Imperium, maybe to a lesser extent Winterco, but you know, only within Chinese prime time. And GTC and maybe Fire, those would be like, and maybe Provi Block as well. That would probably be the mid-tier groups.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Private Block because
Yeah, I wanted to hear about Private Block. I miss old Private Block, man. Back when it was NRDS.
Well, I don't think they call it Private Block anymore. I'm pretty sure it's RC. But from what I've heard, they're really not having a much of a good time. Things seem to be a little bit slightly above boiling point. Nadrad, do you have any thoughts on that? Maybe you could fill us in on what's going on down there.
Yeah, so basically, Deep War showed up a couple months ago and started in Losec. So kind of near Amamaki and Lama. Killed a Forzar, or tried to drop a few Forzars around the Keepstar. Didn't really go well. The guy just fed to kill them. So then we moved to Derelict. Glassed most of Derelict that we could for the medium structures and a few larges. That went really well. And then RC just switched all their timers to EU. Yeah, Deep War is mostly US, right? So after that, we started poking around in Nullsec, now in Providence proper. And RC kind of just stopped forming for most of their stuff. Like the other day, they fed like 400 hacks, I think, right before the change went through to finish off the Forzar we had transferred. But even then, besides that, they haven't really formed. Occasionally, they'll feed like 60 Ishtars to kill an Astra, but besides that, they just kind of sit there, and we've probably killed over 30 or 40, maybe even 50 Athenors, multiple Tataras, Asbels, Fortizars, and RC just doesn't form. It's honestly kind of sad.
So, and it's not just Big Gab doing this. There are multiple other groups doing this that are engaged in this.
So it is 90% Big Ab in USTZ. Big Ab does not have a super strong EU. So occasionally Snuff will come in because they hate RC. Works out. But it's mostly all Big Ab. Just a lot of people have alt alliances and alt corps, so the BRs always look really screwy. We've also had help from Busa from Horde, and a few other just like corps from other alliances.
And so, was there anything that initially prompted this? Was there any reason, or was it just more?
So the reason why Deepwater showed up to kill RC is very simple. The content against Brave was drying up, and Big Gab is not EU. Brave and Volta are. Getting blobbed in EU is not exactly fun. So they went to the only USTZ content in the game, pretty much, and that's RC. So we went to RC, started shooting it, and then RC switched almost all of their timers, besides, I believe, Catch right now, to EU.
Catch is currently owned by Sigma Grind.
Correct. And they TZ tank that against Fire, which is Russian mostly, right? So they TZ tank that to US. So Provi, Derelict, iHub, structures, all that stuff is now like 2,000 timers, roughly.
And Nadrad, I'm going to be digging a little bit in the past here, but you were ex-RC before you were in Big Ab, correct?
Correct.
What is it like for you, sort of going back and sort of just like, I guess, sticking it to your old coalition?
Oh, I joined Big Ab for that reason. If people know me, they know I had my own drama with fucking RC, but I left. And I've been enjoying life in Big Ab. Get to fly ships that aren't Ishtars or hacks. Get kills. Actually, I haven't lost a single Doctrine ship since joining Big Ab, and I've been in quite a few fights. RC just does not fight well. MWD RD battleships, you know, you get 150 of them, they kind of bounce off each other, they just don't track well. So it's been really good. I've enjoyed it.
That's good. So I know in the South, Speedies has been doing a lot of the forming. Is he just not doing much forming anymore? Is that part?
Yeah, so it's for the big timers, it's either Rocket, Seeps, sometimes Spartan, I believe, but it's pretty much Rocket or Seeps. But yeah, like tonight, I believe they killed. I don't think they killed anything, but they refed 2 Asbels into Hull and a few Athenors today. Yesterday they killed a few Athenors. The day before that they killed a few Athenors. The day before that they killed a Tatara worth like 40 bill. And RC just doesn't form at
You're
all.
really
They just
hitting
sit
that
there.
push to talk key pretty hard, dude. Like, I can't help but notice.
I need to talk. Bam.
Absolutely striking down the key, and as they like let go for a short pause, and he's just like,
He's getting.
Like
He's telling
that,
everyone all structures he's killing. He's getting super excited about it. He's just getting the adrenaline going.
I mean, yeah,
Awesome.
ref in a structure, it's pretty big. Yeah.
Rubbing his nipples.
Dude, I just want the fight.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean,
They
that's
just
what do you
don't.
think we?
They just
What do you
don't
think we
fight
do it
anymore.
for?
It's honestly pretty
Exactly.
sad. They had armor Ishtars though with like navy plates, and then they fed them in about 7 minutes. 60 of them.
Oh, owies, that's gonna be expensive.
It was rough.
I mean, didn't they? Well, they nerfed all the hacks now. So how's hacks looking right now?
Honestly, I have no idea what RC's gonna do, but hacks I think are in a pretty alright spot. Can't sit 150 kilometers just with a Serb anymore. So
Oh,
that's
that's good.
nice.
Yeah, no, because rapid Serbs are just
In
ridiculous.
regards to big deep war, it basically forces hacks to be within standard range of nightmares and nullsec, which is huge.
Oh yeah, I mean, battleships should be able to hit further just by default.
Mhm.
But there's no like T2 assault battleship unless you count Marauders. But Marauders are highly specialized.
So
Unless you're in Pokemon, then it's everyone flies them.
Well,
there's someone
yeah.
in chat saying that he really hates RC.
Who's RC again?
Wrecking Crew. They're the
Oh yeah, those guys.
they're
They're
the people that are currently in Provi or currently being evicted from Provi.
they're currently getting evicted. So they're mostly like Rogue Consortium and Sigma Grindset. What did they do? Who's evicting them?
Big gap. Also, I'd like to
Big
say
gap.
hello to Spicey McNicey, who apparently just jumped in. Spicy McNicey.
Hey, Spicy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh,
What's
now,
good?
now, see, someone said hate RC, and Spicy just appeared.
I
Let's
must
hear him.
appear.
Yeah, Spicy, you just missed it. We were talking about the whole Volta Frat war, but I mean, we can pivot around back to that if you have some stuff on that, or if you want to talk about the whole thing with RC, that's fine. We've got 2 topics and time to kill.
I mean, what is there to say about RC? You know, they're a dead disgrace to the game, and they need to just be evicted. And I think
Jesus.
Nadrad's doing a great job at that.
Wait, why does everyone hate RC again?
Because Rocket is AFK and he never wanted to fly Munins and stay away from the we're gonna stay away from the meta and we're not gonna do the meta, but we're gonna fly Serbs for everything.
Which isn't that meta?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean,
Serbs are
hey,
nasty, dude.
look, man, I'm not the one that makes the rules. I'm just the one that follows them, right?
Fair enough. But what is this? So whoever's kicking out Wrecking Crew, what are they gonna do? Give it back to CBA again?
No, I doubt it. I honestly think they're just gonna purge the region, and then Rocket's probably more excited about losing the space than anything else.
Yeah,
So,
deep war
then-
has
so
no
what's-
intentions of taking Solve.
What's gonna happen to Pravi?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested because
It's gonna be like you remember back in the day when there was a whole power vacuum in Vale, and it was Vale Tribute after like Test and CO2 got evicted, and Goons came and blasted back in like 2019 or something.
I was playing around that time, but I've never been a nullsecker.
Yeah, so the Goons literally just came up and then just glassed like it was like all of Tribute, all of Vale, and like another region up there, and they just literally glassed it like 1,000
Jesus.
Titans per keep star, glassed it.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And it just like it emptied out, and it was really healthy for the game, actually, like high key, because what came out of that was like goons literally just left. And that's where Trigger Happy came from. That's where FRX went to. French Connection. That's where like a bunch of small groups like Train Wreck Diplomacy. They came from there. Like a lot of small groups thrived in Vale and in Tribute area, and it was, in my opinion, very healthy for the game, just because it allowed all those groups to kind of just have smaller fights. Banderlogs would fight Trigger Happy all the time, and like there's videos on I could link a few of them later on, but in the Discord. But there was lots of videos made from that. It was great, and honestly, Pravia is a shit show, and Pravia is dog shit space because it's in range. But if Deepwater ends up glassing Catch and evicting Sigma too, then like it's just a power vacuum. You know, Brave could probably move down there. You know,
Brave could become the new CBA. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Catch has been the power vacuum ever since Legacy left that region.
I mean, isn't Tricarius pretty deep rooted in there right now?
Yeah, but so DC is in there. I doubt. I doubt they're gonna evict Dracarys, but I doubt Dracarys wants more space, bro. They already own like all of Impasse and stuff. By the way, I only made the Brave jab because Shattered's here. What's up, Shattered? I miss you. I'm AFK.
I mean, if Brave takes over Pravia, I mean, are you guys gonna make it NRDS again, or?
No. This I doubt. Brave's not going down there. I was making the jab because Shattered's in here.
Yeah.
It would be tempting though. It's
no. I mean, Pravia is.
It's a good region for content, and it's definitely a step above Pure Blind as far as not being.
I mean, Pravia's got a special place in New Eden's heart, I'm sure. I mean, it's like, it's weird. It's not in PC null, but it feels like a Mar nullsec.
Oh, dude. Honestly, I would rather it just become a power vacuum for smaller groups. But Pravia is just dog shit space. It's horrible space because it's in range of too many high sec spots. Catch is a little bit better, but it's not like it's a content region. That's all it is, right?
Well, in that case, then I think maybe a new coalition has to go up in Providence that's like a fight club. Like literally just a dedicated fight club.
Last time that tried to happen, it was in Quirius and it didn't work.
Yeah, I heard about that. Well, yeah, what happened to Quirius Fight Club? Because I think it's an interesting idea that you have like an alliance and then the clubs fight each other.
I was a part of it a while ago, but when the initial Quirius Fight Club thing happened, it was after like Citadel changes and everything. And it just became way too toxic because people would just anchor Citadels everywhere, and it was just horrid. It was not good.
Well, that's not a proper fight club. I was thinking like literally like the set rules on where you can anchor structures, unless it's third parties, in which at that point the alliance has to band together and they have to kill the third parties, drive them out of there, and then be like, all right, well, now we're gonna have our fight club where we're gonna try and take over systems and like war games, but we're not actually gonna change Sob or anything like that.
Yeah, but that was the original QFC back when Brave was living down there too, up until what was that group that kind of moved in and started ruining things? There was a group that like a wormhole group or something that just came in and kind of just started ruining everyone's fun. I don't know. I was winning Eve at the time.
Wormhole group moving in adult sex sounds a bit like Volta, but I don't know about them ruining anyone's fun.
No, it wasn't Volta. But anyways, when Brave left the QFC and then Goons kind of moved into Delve and took over but didn't take over Quirius and turned it into the new QFC. And I don't know if you remember what that looked like. It was basically human cockfighting is what it was. It was
I think it can be done better again one more time.
It was pretty impressive. They basically had a rule set, like this really obscure like mini game set of rules where like every alliance would have a pass anchored on like planet 1, moon 1, or the top planet, and then that pass fight was where the sovereignty of the system would be determined rather than Into's solve.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to actually just swap Sob around.
They would have a fight over this pass, but like each side was only allowed to bring like up to 3 carriers and no force auxiliaries and no dreads, and it was
Yeah, just like pilot skill. That shit's good.
it was silly. It was but it was all like artificial, and just goons were basically just sitting over there in 1DQ taking bets on which group was going to win which fight. And
That sounds awesome. What do you mean? I'm pretty sure like wasn't Goons kind of backing it, like protecting them from third parties and shit.
oh
It's,
yeah, no one lived in Quirius without goons' approval, but that meant that you were just a plaything, basically.
Yeah, but that's if you wanted to just go in PvP, but not like. Well, nowadays FW is kind of like the new place to do that. Where FW is just like a literal perfect fight club right now, but
I've heard very, very good things about faction warfare.
FW is popping off right now. I hear. Like on Reddit, it's almost making me want to fucking join Galp. I'm like, holy
I want to
shit,
roll a
dude.
tune. I want to roll a tune because I've talked to guys that are doing this stuff, and they're saying like those Vanguard systems have like between 30 to 300 people in them every single night. They're just going
I mean,
around
the thing-
like non-stop fights in the frontline systems. It's insane.
I mean, like I think the issue is that I would just end up missing wormholes and like covert operations as well. Like, also you just tend to fly less blingy. You tend to fly more blingy shit in wormholes. I like flying bling. I like flying like T2 and T3 and stuff like that. But you tend to fly like T1 or maybe faction in FW. But I also figured maybe I should try flying a bit more T1.
Fact warfare is a little weird, squirrely. Today was my first day fucking around in a little bit.
Someone
it
needs
depends. I
to
think-
watch your mouth.
What?
Speaking
You
of
watch my
faction,
mouth.
speaking of faction warfare, I
What do you
heard
mean by that,
earlier.
Spicey?
Huh? No. We don't fucking curse in here, right?
Okay.
Guys
But
need
speaking,
to-
speaking
Holy
of
shit,
faction
guys! Watch your
warfare,
tongues.
I heard that Test was moving into faction warfare.
This is irrelevant. Please never
Oh.
mention them again.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, you weren't wrong with that. They had a mill update that said that they were going to be joining Calmail, believe it or not, which is really
Yes.
funny because Brave. So Tess lives in Pureblind right now in a Frat Fortizar, what's left of them, and they're fighting with Frat to try and take space in. I believe Frat promised them Declan. I want to say. Obviously, that's not happening. But Frat promised them Declan, and they've been sitting on their couch in a 5ZX in the middle of NPC Fade NPC Pureblind for the last few months. But here's the funny thing: Test is in there, and they shoot Brave all the time because obviously we got old bad blood from the Legacy days. But they also are now going in with Calmill, who we already have defensive packs with. So at some point in time in the future,
Ooh, Spartan.
Test is going to get pinged for a fleet to go defend Brave space with the rest of Calmail from Frat and Test. That's the one
That's
thing
the-
I
that's-
don't think the
well-
leadership realized what they're getting into by signing up with Calmail.
Also, I think Calmill is fucking enough pilots right now at this point. But I do hear that Galmill is. I mean, I do hear that Galmill is doing really, really well right now.
Yeah, Galmill's
Because just
popping
people
off.
have been joining Galmill a lot, and also just I hear that the general skill of their pilots has gone up a lot lately.
Everyone really wants to get those Exec Navy and Moros Navy issue blueprints.
Oh man, the Moros Navy. Oh god, I kind of want one.
Mhm.
Moros
I
is
think-
literally the worst ship in the game, bro. Changed
I
my
think-
mind.
I think
The
Galente.
Moros Navy.
I
though.
think Galente really got buffed like to almost OP levels with the new faction update. Like the Galente ship line now is probably some of the most broken ships in the game.
Dude, the
Dominic's
Exequer Navy
Moros
is ridiculous.
issue, the Moros Navy issue with its tackle range and tackle strength bonus, the Executor
Ishtar?
Navy issue with a cruiser that can get up to almost 1500 DPS. It's a cruiser.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, the
1500
Exequer
DPS on a
Navy
cruiser.
is ridiculous. It's like one of the Logi converted cruisers, and still it's
Yeah.
like ridiculously. It's you can compare it to
I-
something
I
like the
am-
Scythe or the Augur. I mean, the Augur does some decent damage, but like,
It is
the
the
Augur
most
Navy.
high damage output T1 cruiser in the game right now.
oh yeah, no, it's well,
I
the
would say the
faction
no
cruiser.
T2
yeah.
cruiser. No, T2 cruisers can't even break what the Exec Navy can do.
You
It
probably
does-
need at least T3, or maybe you need like a Demos, maybe
Yeah,
to break it.
I was looking at a polarized fit when I was testing this stuff out. Let me bring up Python because I'll show you
Could you
exactly.
crack it with the Demos, maybe? Because like the Demos is really the one to beat, you know, in this situation.
I
I
can't
don't
talk
see.
shit
I
about
don't know what
RC,
a
now we're talking
polarized
about
Dynamos can do.
Gal
It's gonna
Mill.
be- It's gonna be close. I think the exec navy, its native hull bonus is actually better than. What
I want to
Dynamos
talk
can
about
do.
Yeah,
FW ships. Yeah, let's talk about it.
That's the one thing that I don't know yet. I have to, since the patch, I have to look at my Navy exec. I know I lost one turret off it, but mine was hull tanked like a motherfucker.
So
And I want to know where it's sitting now with the patch because it
I'm
was already
looking
pulling
at-
like
Just search
1,200.
it on your thing.
so
you
I'm.
know?
I'm
looking
not.
at
I
a-
can log in, but
I'm looking at a polarized Executor Navy issue that is basically a better Hecate.
pretty
It
much.
costs,
It's
it
pretty
costs
wild.
100 million, so it costs as much as a Hecate, but it does 1600 DPS overheated.
I mean, it's not a destroyer. It's still quite a bit
Yeah,
slower,
it's
but
slow. Yeah.
But it's worth the
as
speed
A
if you
polarized
know what
hull
you're doing
tank
with
kit, it's not that slow.
yeah. But if you're
Me-
polarized, you're also kind of not that tanky.
Exactly. And
Tank of Hecate, but twice the damage output.
And for someone that lives in Pochven, speed and warp speed matters, so I'll take the Hecate any day.
Yeah, the
But-
Hecate is stupid fast in transport
Yeah.
mode.
Let's see.
I mean, what is it? Sub 2 second line time,
It
like
is
without
sub 2
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what we love using in Pochven because you can get around quick and murder shit.
Oh, do you guys fly rails or blasters?
Blasters.
Yeah.
Gotta
So
hold
you
them
brawl.
down.
You
Oh
brawl.
yeah.
I see.
So Don, just to catch you up, we were mentioning how Test is now a faction warfare alliance for Cal Mill.
It's a perfect spot for them, you know? Irrelevant and off to the side.
And we're talking about how awesome Galmill is.
Well, I think
You
it's
know,
kinda-
if people want to enjoy Galente, that's fine. You're just wrong.
Like I'm not
Mar is the
ENFW,
best.
but I'm a big. I'm
Did somebody
I'm a-
say Mar Master Race?
Mimitar
Amar
is the
Master
best?
Race.
That is it's really giving me some, back in World War II vibes, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Flavors.
The one issue I see right now with what CCP plans to do, opening up faction warfare to like any alliance or any
That's gonna be
person to
good,
play
dude.
with, I feel like it's just gonna get abused. Like the
No.
alliance are just gonna like completely throw the power balance out of whack. In faction
It's just
warfare.
gonna be people farming points. Like, I wouldn't worry
Well,
about it.
that's-
Most
and that's
Nullsec
it,
people
that's-
are
that's
lazy
the-
as fuck. They're not gonna go out there to do anything.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna want to move to null. I mean, I know, not to null.
Oh,
They're not
wait,
gonna want to
wait.
move to low, but like, I know. I think people like right now, FW space is filled with people who actually want to do FW. They want to fight. I mean, there's some people out there who are farming LP like a fuck ton, but besides those people, a lot of the people that look like they want to fight, they're generating hundreds of kill mills like every hour. It's pretty good.
So just looking at my Navy executor that is just brick tanked for hull, and it's only got heavy neutron blasters too. I'm looking at not overheated, 864 DPS,
Yeah, I know, right?
but the EHP is almost 40k.
Yeah.
pretty good.
No, the Executor Nate did it with this
It's
25%
such a nice
flat.
ship. Yeah.
Honestly, moving from like what was it, 5% or something?
Yeah.
Like if you remove the turret but you do 25% bonus,
Well,
it actually still gets a
it's
net
100
increase.
It's got 4 turret highs and it's got 125% damage bonus at level 5. That's the equivalent of help me out here. 9 turrets?
9 mediums, yeah. No, it's pretty ridiculous. It's like
9 of those
effective
mediums.
turrets.
It's so satisfying when you take a filament and it takes you exactly where you want it to go.
Like
Out of
ma-
7,600 systems.
yeah. I mean, I would say that maybe it'd be a bit more balanced if it was like 20% bonus, but I'd like to see how it goes with the Exec Navy.
I mean, I'm afterburner fit, so I only go like 864 because I'm just there to come in when someone catches it, but it's still kind of fucking dirty.
I mean,
Like-
we'll see how it generates kills, and if it's like deemed really strong, I'd say drawing it back to like maybe 20% would be good. So you get like about 8 to 7 effective turrets instead.
Yeah.
Because I don't, well, it's good to see strong faction ships, but shouldn't overshadow the demos. The Demos is just stupid strong. Or at least it should be.
I mean, I still just, you know, every once in a while look at my pretty Zenitra and go, I can't wait to be in you.
How is it flying the Zernitra? I haven't actually seen one yet.
I can't fly it yet. I have to create a Dread alt.
You gotta make an alt for it? Nah, get your main in Dreads.
Dude. I actually wanted to, and then I mean,
I can fly almost like every subcap in the game at this point.
I can fly every single subcap in the game. So besides like the transport ships and the fucking ore ships, I don't mind anymore. So
yeah.
all my mining alts can't fly shit.
Team.
I'm stripping their skills, but
Yeah.
My package is here finally.
But the ore in POC is so good though.
it
Battle
is.
Purpose, baby. Let's go.
No.
No, Battle
It's not,
Prospect
don't-
is funnier.
But I'm kidding. Battle Prospect is where it's at. No, I have I have prospect skills as well, but I don't have like exhumers or anything like that. Not that I need it unless I'm baiting, but
Yes, Hyperion, that is spicy.
if you're gonna try and make a return to a Wingspan branded Orca, I'm gonna ask you to carefully think about what you're doing there.
That is actually one of the few ships. I didn't get rid of 2 ships when I got rid of all my alts. I gave them to my main, which was my bowhead and my Orca.
I'm trying to get my alt at a bowhead, yeah. I've
And
got
I'm
like
just
about
like,
2 months for the bowhead. Yeah.
No, but my big thing with my Zern is I've got high grade Mimesis pod, which means I can literally damage cap on my own.
Well, hold on. Does it apply to capital? I thought pods don't apply to capital weapons.
It does. Mimesis is a weird pod.
Jesus.
So you can literally damage cap on your own.
With a full spool. You think you could take on like a faction Satoya like that?
Probably.
You could probably solo like a Diamond Satoyo if you have like a couple faxes with you.
Oh, I was laughing at I was just like, yeah, get some other dreads in, like a fax or two.
No,
like...
just yourself and 2 faxes, three guys. That's it. And you guys can split the loot.
I can just hear the echo of cable just in the distance.
Like if you bring too many people, you split the loot. Every person is another division. So if you bring only 3 guys and 2 faxes and a Zernitra, shit, man, you've got it.
Yeah, well, I don't live in Nullsec, so.
That's true. You're gonna have to ask someone to quietly get you in, and you're gonna have to hope that nobody comes across your bash.
All right, so let's get back to Navy ships though, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys feel about the Chorus or Navy issue? I am very aroused by it.
I'm interested by the Cormorant. Cormorant is looking really good for range and damage.
Are we using arouse as like a good word now?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, I'm yeah.
Maybe you
Tickles
should
my
join
fancy.
Horngry.
Yeah, I was making the guys in Faction War Space go like, oh, horny in space.
And hungry.
I will say, probably one of the destroyers that I think got the best sort of model treatment and made its model look better is the Thrasher. The Thrasher looks, I think, so much
Thrasher
better.
fleet looks really good.
It
Not gonna
looks
lie.
badass.
No, the biggest glow up was the Moros.
That too.
I think so. I think out of all of them, 100% Moros.
I don't
wins.
know.
It
I
looks
think
like
the
a
Phoenix
shoe.
Phoenix is a very close.
I
contender.
would
The
rather
Phoenix-
fly the shoe than the very weird looking dumpling or whatever the hell you get the first time. I don't know.
It's a potato.
Or that, yeah, potato. I don't know what the hell it was. Like it's like this weird thing. It looks stumped, but the Moros Navy, now that thing looks angry. That thing looks like it's going to blast your ass apart with neutrons. And
All
I
right,
do
first
not
off,
wanna mess
why
with
are
that.
we talking so much about Galente when we all understand that Amar is master race?
I mean,
True.
in all fairness, yeah, to Amar,
The Rev is the better one.
Rev Navy barely changed, which is, I guess, a testament to you can't really improve perfection.
If the design is already perfect, why would
Exactly.
you need to change it?
Oh no, the Rev used to be like my favorite looking dreadnought back then. Now I think it's been the most
so what I'm
lucky.
saying, right, is like, what is the most common dread that you see dropped? It's a revelation because it's got the
Oh,
highest
it's the
amount of
nag,
tank,
no?
the highest amount of damage. It's
Oh, no,
the
it's the
nag.
nag.
No. It's definitely the.
Tall is
revelation.
power.
I see more nags, bro.
Tall
What do you
is
mean?
power.
Or Phoenixes, actually. I see a lot of. To be
You see-
okay,
I see a
wormholes. You
lot.
see Phoenixes more. You see Phoenixes more in wormholes. I feel.
All right, where's
saw the
where's
Phoenix last week.
Where's Nadrad at? There's literally fleets of like 70 revs. Yeah, if P-Horde undocked their cap fleet to come fight us in F-Tech-N or something, right? It would be like 60 revelations. It's not gonna be like.
I get that. I was saying, in at least in my experience, I see a lot more phoenixes because in wormholes you tend to find more. That's like the more preferred haul.
You find more nags. You find more nags in phoenixes wormholes because they're better at tracking stuff and.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, rapid torpedoes are nothing to sneeze at. Especially now, the fucking Phoenix Navy is just, it's so good.
Revs, Revs, you just drop 70 of them, and you, sorry for my French, you deep dick any capitals on field.
Yeah.
Well, according to some of the guys that I know that want to make the Navy Moros, that actually have them cooking right now already, they want to make them the Dreadnought Lachesis.
I could totally see the Navy Moros getting.
It's gonna replace the Rorqual. Tackle Rorks? No. Tackle Moroses.
So when I first saw the new bonuses and the slot layouts of those new dreads, my first thought was, we're going to see a new meta of these sort of like drive-by dread bombs, where you have like dreads dropping deep in enemy lines and then just dropping, killing something, de-sieging, and getting out before any response shows up.
I see it more to be like they're dedicated haul dreads.
But the thing is that they also will have like, because you'll be able to drop them in very small scale, right? Because you have these dreads that are able to fit like utility cloaks in their highs, so they can, if they manage to de-siege, they can warp off and just hide, cloak somewhere, and then they're functioning as their own tackle, their own newts. Like you pair up a Moros Navy and a Rev Navy on top of any basically riding capital, and it's dead to rights. It can't do anything.
You know what? I'm gonna take that thought. I'm gonna go hit up Extra Squishy, and we'll find out.
Right on.
I want to see how the first couple Moros navies handle. I do want to see how the first couple Moros navies handle combat, because I do think that they have a bit. I mean, blasters are really short range, but I feel like at capital ranges, I don't know if that's a problem.
Honestly,
never really
curious.
slowed the Moros Navy down, or the
I'm honestly curious to see where the meta is gonna shift to, like high key though, because I'm not talking about the capital meta. I'm talking about the sub capital meta. Sorry, I went off topic, but like the sub capital meta. I'm curious to see where it goes. You know, like
hack changes, yeah.
Yeah, that the hack changes are not like people are gonna obviously use them until the stores are gone, right? But like, I mean, there's some like 1 or 2 hacks that are still viable, right? Fraternity's Vagabond fleet that has never actually fought anything in real life. That's just gonna get dumpstered straight out. Like,
it's started like the Vagabond has started being used in Pokemon after the hack nerf a little bit. It was being tested before it when the changes were started.
I mean, the Vag is just better as a small gang ship. I feel like just because of its speed.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is most of the null FCs, and I'm gonna say this pretty blatantly, they're dog shit currently because all they've flown for the past 3.5 years is Munins.
Oh boy, here we go.
Cheers, Sharded.
Yeah, good shepherd, guys.
See you, Shannon.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye,
I'll say hi.
Yep.
So and I say this in a nice way, right? They're dog shit in the terms of they've been playing the speed meta for the past 4 years that we've been flying Munins now, right? So you don't have those FCs that like kind of think outside the box. You don't have those guys that like go around and do a bunch of stuff in terms of like, oh, here's theory crafting, we're gonna go test this. Here's theory crafting, we're gonna go test this, right? It's all about speed. Hence why immediately Fraternity, right? And I'm gonna continue shitting on Fraternity because their FCs are literally the epitome of every dog shit. Like BJK, literally worst FC in the game. Literally, they they fought with the Vagabonds once, and they out-tracked their own guns because of the speed. So like, they're just orbiting like it was like 15k with Arties, and they left Michael Ruptrovs on because with Munins you could do that, right? And yeah, they just straight up fucking out-tracked their own guns. Couldn't hit a single thing. And that's what you're going to see a lot of until people start actually theory crafting something that's better. Something
Frat.
that works better.
Vagabond's a lot harder to fly, especially in like a large. And I just don't think it really works in numbers, honestly, just the way it
I
is.
mean, you get 70 Vagabonds, you're going to do a lot of damage, but you have to be able to track, you know? So let's turn our micro warp drives off and go much slower.
But then you need manual piloting, and I don't know how many line members are going to be able to do that.
So it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm curious to see where it shifts. I'm AFK since Vegas. Like after Vegas, I've just been turbo AFK, and I've had a bunch of stuff going on. You know, because dropping $9,000 in Vegas is no small feat.
Yeah.
Jesus, you doing?
Hey, look, Millennium, that shit was lit. I dropped $4,000 that night alone.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll make that kind of cash.
That shit
I
was
wanna quickly,
awesome.
I quickly want to mention in chat that there is a poll going to see which Navy Dread looks the best, and currently the Moros is winning.
Oh, hey, we got a Twitch poll. Fuck
No,
yeah.
it's not.
I love how it's just, well, it's only 3 votes, but I'm gonna definitely add Moros.
No.
Fuck your
God damn,
revelation.
Amar.
Screw your
Fuck.
revelation. Moros
Fuck
gang.
your shoe. Fuck your shoe.
We like being angry freedom boys.
I like tallest power, but
There's currently more votes than there is viewers.
That's just how Twitch is. It's very much a
By a
rigged
significant amount.
vote. Yep, it's always rigged. That's Twitch.
no,
There's-
because you can vote more times by spending points.
No, don't
Yeah.
tell anybody that.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell anybody that. What are you doing?
So
I'm burning all my points.
I kind of want to move this back around to Frat. So, Spicy, your friend Mav apparently dropped a keep star in Brave staging. But
Alright,
apparently
well, first off, Mav literally told me that I should kill myself, like, not even 7 months ago, openly in the cesspool, so I think
what the fuck?
Yeah, like, and
Ooh.
the worst part is, right, so, like, people in the cesspool, like, they'll go after one thing, and they'll be like, grr, this, and then, like, they'll treat people the same as the way that they're going grr this. It's kind of funny, actually. So when
Jesus Christ.
that whole GLD thing was going on, I literally got told that I was a piece of shit and I should kill myself IRL. So
Wow.
Hey, why are they bringing? I thought the rule number 1 back in fucking TTT was not to bring real life into it. What the hell?
yeah, and
That's fucked up. That's not right.
yeah, so I mean it is what it is. I don't really care. But
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, Mav's a piece of shit in my eyes, and I do not. I hope that I never meet some of the people that have talked shit in the game. Not because I would like physically harm them, but just because I think that their personalities are going to be dog shit. So
It takes a certain kind of person to play EVE online.
yeah, I mean it's honestly I met some guys at Vegas and they were pretty chill, but like I've never had an issue with any of those guys that I met at Vegas, and I specifically went and met a select few. So is what it is.
I mean,
But yeah, dude, I mean, like that's what I got told by him. And then, yeah.
So to bring it back around out of IRL, he dropped a keep star and freeported it in Brave staging.
I mean,
Brave,
sounds like something that he would do.
Brave did try to attack it, but then since it's time zone tanked for Fraternity, Fraternity just dropped, according to Shatter, just
High key, it's not free ported. It's literally just given access to like anybody that's against the GTC coalition. Because if you didn't know that Mav has half his tunes in Frat, half his tunes in Horde, so you can go check like all of his tunes. It's kind of funny.
I just kind of want to say Bachman needs to go out there and say they're against Brave and Volta and the Greater Trash Coalition, and then just hit Frat because it's fun to hit Frat.
Yeah, dude. I think I think
New pastime.
Pappy is a horrible thing for the game, and it's never truly disbanded. And with Asher in charge of goons, I don't know if it's ever going to get contested.
What's wrong with Test? They're kind of dead now, aren't they?
No, Pappy, not Tappy.
Oh,
Tess has been irrelevant for years.
who's Pappy again? What is the Galactic?
PanFam, all of PanFam, Fraternity, and XIX.
So the North.
Pretty much the entire west, eastern, and northeastern
Northeast,
hemisphere.
yeah. I got you.
So Frat has also been fighting a war. They are trying to, and I wanted to get into this with Shattered, but you had to go. I wanted to talk a little bit more about like the grand strategy here, and sort of the implications of what would happen if Frat actually came in and they took Declan and they took Fade. Brave would then be surrounded essentially. And we've seen now that, goons and...
Well, the only thing I'm going to say, because I can't say much on it, is that if that ever happens, I hope they form more than, the 30, 40 people that they form in U time zone. That's all I'm going to say.
Brave should be... So Hycorian chat says, and Brave would become a low-sec alliance or disband. I don't really know about that.
Horde will never go to war with Frat. Main Horde literally has docking access to all of Frat structures. Tell me I'm wrong. Link the ACL to me and tell me I'm wrong. Get somebody from Frat in here with ACL access and tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame as the Phoenix didn't get any votes. By the way, the results are in. Of course, the Rev takes 50%. You bastards.
Yep, according to chat, according to the diplomatic process, Revelation was wrong.
Yeah, democratic process
but
indeed.
the diplomatic process sometimes gets it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, nobody voted for the Phoenix. I do gotta say, though, the Phoenix did get a huge improvement, and it's actually great how the Reg of the Phoenix got a boost.
If anything were to happen to Brave currently, I think it would survive well past what people think. Just because... so way back when, right after the World War B Villi, because I don't even justify that as World War B2. I mean, it was such a catastrophe, from the standpoint. It's horrid. Anyway, it's just like Mav's idea. Like, let's put a Freeport Keepstar in FTech in, and then just fucking hope that it does good. Give it 2 weeks. Frat will stage there. That's been the status quo for all these wars. Let's just stage right next to our enemy and increase their activity in their home system tenfold, because why not? Again, catastrophe. I think if anything were to happen in that sphere, and worst case scenario, right, everybody gets evicted, we're all dead, right, it just goes to show that one, Frat would have to do it with Horde, because Frat EU time zone is literally dog water, and two, it just shows that Horde doesn't want any other faction that could side with another faction against them available into the game. That's my belief. That is my belief, is that Horde doesn't want anybody to be able to ally against them with somebody else. They built their coalition, and they want to keep the longevity of it. So that's just my opinion, but it's just a casual FC that's AFK.
Spicy, could you check your DMs?
I could.
It appears that Mav would like to contest some of your points.
No, I don't really care, bro. I'm not fucking speaking to him on any playing field ever. After what he told me in the cesspool, I don't care.
Wait, is he on the Discord?
He asked to
Straight up, I have no desire to speak with him ever.
All right, so moving on. So that happened.
Yeah.
Rumor went silent.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the facts, I just screenshotted everything that happened back in the day, but it's just
I don't blame you, man.
Yeah,
It's alright.
it's just I'm not. Yeah.
It's one of those things. I mean, sidetrack a little bit back to the hacks. I am very excited about the hack changes, mainly because Fuck Ishtars and Pakvin. God damn, are they annoying.
Are they really? Wait, Ishtars are really good in Pakistan?
Yeah. So you have like two different forms of OBS fleets. You either have people in Ishtars, which we have now started like going in after them, after they get in, and micro warp driving megas on top of their sentry drones and blowing them all up so they get fucked by the NPCs. But yeah, normally between Horde and Frat, there's like 2 to 5 Ishtar fleets roaming around the triangle looking for OBS fleets to OBS sites to do. And then the other side of it is Paladins out the ass.
I see.
By the way, exclamation point ETS Discord to get the link to the Discord.
We noted.
So yeah, so that happened. The Keep Stars now, and from what Shattered said yesterday and today, it's been a really, it's going to be a content driver from what he says. Having all of that content, which I tend to sort of agree with him. Having that easy access to content is going to make Brave's going to get all they're not going to need to go anywhere to get content. However, where there's content, there can be a tendency to how do I say this? The places where hotbeds of content have a tendency to draw sometimes unwanted groups, and we've seen just recently Horde came in to try to get on the content, as well as what was it? As well as Init has coming on the content. I don't want to say that this sort of conflict could get out of control, where you now have again multiple power blocks deploying against each other. We saw it happening. What was it? During the whole Fire versus RC, where Fire was trying to assault RC space, and then goons started showing up to help RC because they were against Fire, and then the goons started showing up. PanFam and all of PanFam and Tess started pulling down. Do we think that something like that might happen with Brave and fighting against Fraternity in that whole little area right there, or do we think it's just going to stay a small isolated conflict? Because that's the thing. A lot of these small conflicts, they start small, and then the minute you get the big blocks involved, then it becomes now the content that we specifically are trying to avoid is now happening.
I mean, they're just probably trying to drive content for their SIG so that they can increase membership and promote the SIG's popularity inside of Horde. So I don't know, couldn't tell you.
I would like another big brawl. Personally, as an outsider who goddamn hates nullsec politics. Personally, I'd like another big brawl.
I mean, big brawls are fun, but at the same time, it just the fun sort of gets dried up when you've got big blocks that are just throwing massive Titan fleets at each other, and it just becomes blue balls. I mean, you look at how Frat has all their stuff, time zone. It's all time zone tanked for CNTZ, and Keepstar is in CNTZ, which it makes sense that Frat would do that. That's their strongest TZ, but no one's going to contest it.
As a member of a small corp, blue balling works, and it pisses the null blocks off that are in Pakvin. We are small gangers, and I get the blue ball game, but
yeah,
I really want Frat's dick kicked in a little bit.
Oh, I mean, Frat just wants to flex over everybody, so I don't know.
Oh, with all the botting, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's a
Cannot confirm nor deny that there is botting.
Of course.
In Frat, I cannot confirm nor deny if Norris has ever been banned for botting, you know?
Honestly,
Somebody
wait, hold
clip him
on.
saying he wants Frat's dick.
It is
weird.
true that Frat is a Chinese alliance, right?
Yep.
It's kind of like everything now, you know?
Yeah, now
Well,
it's everything.
What happened with Serenity and all that?
So like some of their populace went back to Serenity from what I heard. I cannot confirm or deny any of this stuff, like actually. But some of their populace went back to whatever the fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so they went back to Serenity, and I have no idea what happened after that. I think some of them came back after Norris came back, high key. So pretty sure that's what happened, because I know Norris came back, and then China time zone started like forming pretty big again. So I don't know.
I have things I want to say about that with them having their own server. That
Sounds like it's a bit abrasive what you have in mind, but at the same time,
I think they should all go back to their fucking server.
Hey!
I'll say it out loud. You guys can hate on me. You guys can shit up my fucking Twitch stream when I do my shit. But dude, they should all go fucking back. Like, I know Serenity had its downtime and they are allowed to come on a TQ, but like, dude, fucking go back to your server. Like, you have your own server. You guys, CCP literally
Aren't they literally
signed.
not like allowed to come here? That technically,
Wait, what do you mean?
by their own laws.
By their country's laws, yeah, they're not supposed to be playing here.
Yeah, they're like VPN'd in. I'm pretty sure.
But
For China?
Yeah, 100%. How do they buy
they have,
flags?
they have gaming laws that
Like, how do
stop
they
them
even
from playing too long.
No, it's not just playing too long, but it's like generally they don't have them. They're not able to access like Western servers just at all, pretty much at all. But like the big one, it gets me. How do they even buy Plex? And how do they even buy game time? Or are they just not able to, and that's why they
Most likely
do so
RMT.
much ratting?
Yeah, RMT.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of them that's what a lot of them get banned for. But RMT is also like super active over in China for like almost every game that you play.
Oh yeah, China
You play any
is
game
under very
Yeah.
good standing within gaming
Hey, man.
circles.
So
I mean, I may or may not have bought gold before in WoW back in the day. I know
mean,
where that
gold is
came
worth
from.
so little.
gonna
in
give
RuneScape,
this
you
stream
could
a
respect
report to
it.
Twitch for racism. I mean, sure. If you
But-
see that as racist, that's just the facts of the Chinese server.
Talking of the facts, Spicy, have you got any evidence of me, saying what you said I said? Oh, he's gone. Okay. For the record, I didn't say anything like that, but yeah.
And I guess the talk show drama has begun this week, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how this goes.
I mean, there clearly isn't going to be any drama because
Damn,
he
I didn't
left.
want to see Spicy go.
I'd like to see the receipts. I genuinely don't think I said for him to kill himself. I don't think I would say that to anyone. And, yeah, I don't know. Also, your opinions on Chinese players are like absolute dog shit. Yeah, those were some pretty abhorrent opinions. Also, I don't have characters in Fraternity, and I have a single character in the Horde. But...
He didn't say they were bad per se. I think he just said that like RMT is pretty common in China,
You told
and that
them,
is
someone in here said they should all go back to their own server.
Well, that he
But
did
they-
say. I
yeah.
don't think he was saying that because they're bad or anything. He just says
That's
because
not-
that's literally the server for them.
They CCP signed an agreement with CCP China that literally they can do whatever they want with the game, where they can
apparently
make
we're on an ad break.
they can whatever. They can make
Controversial
whatever
opinions become an ad break.
they can make whatever they want ship wise, and CCP out of Iceland can't copy that shit. Like literally the Chinese server can do whatever they want with the game, make the game even better than what we have.
Well, you know what? The funny thing is that there is actually their own ships on Eve Echoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I tried Eve Echoes the other day. It's pretty weird to see the new ship tree, but also I hate the naming convention. It's so stupid. Oh my god. It's like instead of calling it the Rapier, they call it like the Bellicose 3 Covert Ops, and I'm like, oh, stop, please. Just call it a Rapier. Oh, or something stupid like that. Like they use the T1 names. They do get that right. But there's like multiple tiers of certain T2 ships. Like there's a Nemesis 2 or something, and it's like this really weird progression system. I have no idea how it's supposed to work on Eve Echoes, but at least some of the fan favorites are still there. You got your SOE stuff, you've got you've got most of the pirate factions. There's no Trigs, I think. There's no Trigs, there's no Edencom, none of that.
Yeah.
So they're completely free of the whole invasion thing.
Yeah, that's the best part of Eve.
It does sound like it's the best thing that's ever happened to you, Pacman.
Oh, dude, I was such an in and out player in Eve. I would come in and out all the goddamn time from Eve. Like I would play for maybe a year, drop it, play for 6 months, drop it. Because all my friends,
6 months to a year is pretty good.
We all played other games that would have our attention. I'd play Eve as kind of a back burner, and then early pandemic, I started watching Eve videos again, and I was like, holy shit, there's new ships. Because the last time I had played was 2016. And then it was like, oh, fuck, I'm joining in the invasions? Fuck yeah. Let's ruin fucking New Eden. And then I fucked myself out of Nyarja, because I used to stage out of Amar, so I kind of screwed myself. Still, best thing that ever happened.
Someone's trying to diss me in general chat on Discord. Oh, look at this.
Also, I'd like to remind everyone. Let's try not to bandwagon.
Yeah. I'm sorry that we couldn't get your delivery in time. We'll get it to you soon. Yeah. You'll see the kill board soon enough, I'm sure. That's just my delivery. That's kill board. I'm sorry. That's my delivery log. Yes, of course.
So I'm still interested in this Keepstar because this was still the whole this happening was still pretty funny. I
honestly don't know why they didn't actually try and kill it. They half-assed the entire thing. It was honestly really embarrassing. I tried to engage with Shattered about this in the cesspool, and he said I had a misunderstanding of nullsec mechanics, which seems rather strange given that I have a Keepstar in their staging. I think you'd probably have to have some understanding of nullsec mechanics to pull that off. They had a single jammer anchored. They should have had 3 anchored. They let Frat, I think they got the jammer down to 75% before 75% armor before they bothered forming. Shattered in comms when he saw the fleet come in was like, the jammer doesn't matter. It did matter. Reinforcing is a really big kind of component in these big tie-dye fights. I don't know. They took some really long warps. So in tie-dye, there's everything slows down, but the actual onlining timer of the structure does not. So you really need to keep damage on the structure. They took a warp all the way back to their Keepstar and then back again in pretty big tie-dye, so that wasted a couple minutes. Before they even started putting damage on the Keep, it had 8 minutes left on the repair, so they let it repair for a good while. It was just peak incompetency. Yes, they were outnumbered, it was CNTZ, but they could have killed it, but they absolutely fucked the execution. And the siege fort, they didn't try and anchor a siege fort until a day or 2 before the Keep came out. They had an entire week to prepare for this timer, and they fucked it.
So I guess now, where does that leave where does that leave everything now?
I don't really know. I'm not really sure. It'll be interesting to see. Like, there was obviously a Freeport Fortizar there before. The only difference really is that, you know, like, Supers can dock now, and I put a market module in, and I advertised it and stuff. Like, I call it a Freeport. It's probably not considered an actual Freeport because I banned the people who tried to come and kill it. So, like, Goons are banned and Init are banned. So it's kind of a Freeport. I think, like, at some point I would consider letting more groups use it, or letting those groups use it, but at the moment I'm keeping them banned. I don't know what effect it's gonna have, to be honest. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Are you? I don't know where I was going to go. Did someone else say something? Luigi. You say something. Talk about torpedo deliveries.
I mean, having a lot of action the last couple weeks, more organized stuff. Not gonna say. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, no, we're still delivering. We're doing lots of that wormhole stuff. Get a lot of good fights. It's pretty much. I mean, it's all on ZKill anyways. If you guys really want to know what's going on, but I had some good fights in a couple of wormholes the last week.
So another thing that I was actually kind of curious was that so this war happens, Brave gets evicted.
I'm not sure that is what is going to happen, but we'll see.
Well, if it did, like, let's say Frat takes Declan, and I posed this question before. Frat takes Declan and Fade. That's now pushing Frat ever closer to Imperium space, and Imperium, you know, Init especially is known for going up north and you know, really messing up shit. You know, what if they start doing that to, you know, Frat too many times, and Frat decides that, oh, well, we're going to, you know, go and murder Init?
I mean, I think you would call that a buffer zone. It's, you know, NPC space in the region. Like, it's fairly difficult to hold, I guess. You know, you can stage in the NPC stations. I don't think it would be particularly important strategic space if Fraternity did take it. And yeah, I'm sure if, you know, the Imperium made an actual real attempt, then you'd see the rest of quotes Pappy deploying.
Yeah, because it definitely, like, this conflict, I don't think it's going to spiral, but it definitely has the sort of the telltale signs, like sort of what we saw with the what was it?
So I was kind of hoping that the Keepstar would instigate you know, some like really stupid moves from Brave, because, you know, at the moment Horde aren't deployed. It's just a SIG or two from Horde, and, you know, you've got Frat obviously. Now, if Horde wanted to end this war, they could do it very quickly, but, you know, I think they probably don't want to. You know, it's not their war, but if Brave or GTC were to call, you know, Imperium in, then who knows what would happen, right? And they've already backphoned Imperium a couple of times now, so it'll be interesting to see if that continues to happen, and if it does, then you could see more involvement from the other blocks, but I don't know.
Because it really definitely feels like you've got you know, whenever Imperium goes and does something, you know, that's outside of their space, PanFam then will go and try to fight them because they're goons, or because, you know, they have some area in the region, or whenever PanFam goes and deploys in an area that's outside their region that's adjacent to goons, then you've got goons going in and saying that they're being invaded.
Arguably, goons have to deploy at some point. Their numbers are going down the toilet. They're not even able to crab effectively in Delve because they're being shot on by some group staging from PC Delve, with supers dying, etc. Like, yeah, I think goons are in a fairly bad place, and I think they probably have to try and get a content deployment going, but we'll see. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they turn up and pure blind, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, Kurama, I have a story I can tell.
Go ahead.
Yeah, all right, let's talk about it. So, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We had attempted an eviction in a hole. Now, this sounds uncharacteristic of us, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So, let's start the story off. We come into this wormhole. It's a C4. I believe it's a Magnetar. And I think I wasn't there at the very beginning. Two of my court mates, they came in, and they found these guys who were rage rolling with like 4 ravens. And they were like rage rolling. They wanted to kick everyone out as much as possible. They were going to deny content to the max. It was actually pretty hilarious to watch. And then as soon as I think they managed to pull like a nullsec that was like 3 jumps from Thera through a frigate hole, and that was pretty much our only bridgehead in. And once a few of us got in there, we started to kind of prepare for a fight. They had, they were on their Astra that was like way off in a deep safe, and we were trying to like watch them trying to, get them out to get a good fight, right? And then they dock up and they blue balls. At this point, the agreement was like, well, you know what? We really normally don't attempt eviction. We don't attempt deliveries of that size to structures, right? It's a bit of a big deal. But we figured this time, look, they're never going to give us content anyways. And we're never going to be able to make them content. So we figured we'd make them content. One way or another. So, we beginner's bash, right? Shoot a couple bombers. Next couple of days, it's hole control time. And it is exceptionally fun. Jesus Christ, the amount of door stopping. I think like twice they tried to break our door stops with with sigils. And both times we basically just rolled it right on them as they were landing on the hole. And we had at least rolled out like 5 or 6 people in like 2 days who were just trying to come out of the structure in scouts, and every single time one would go out, we would just immediately close it. It was ridiculous. But then the last day, unfortunately, a frigate hole spawns. And it all comes crashing down there. Bring a lot of kikis, it's a whole thing. We're trying to do it with bombers. We even dropped a pause for a short time, but that was alright. It was a fun little story, Just a lot of great kills, a lot of great stuff in the battle report, but then we just, suicided a bunch of catalysts. And well, that went about as expected versus a bunch of kikis. And that was it, really.
Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything. We've gone for almost 2 hours now.
Yeah. Oh shit, we have. Yeah.
Yeah. Been an interesting show, to say the least. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, please hit a follow. Give us a follow. We're trying to. We're getting somewhere. We're trying. If you
we had a lot of people on today, dude. This is really good. Yeah.
It was definitely fun. We got a lot of different opinions. And I totally forgot how I was going with this. If you haven't already, follow my man Sabbat. Said I totally forgot how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Sabbat.
If you want to link your stream in
Sabbat, my boy.
Great. Y'all should go and give him a follow. Help him get to Eve Partner. And I think that's about it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember to always bubble wrap those. Remember to bubble wrap your keep stars. Remember to always bubble wrap your keep stars, and we'll see you next time.
Bubble wrap your keep stars, and get your cargo holds ready for more torpedoes.
Hell yes. Stick around. We're gonna raid LP LeBlanc, and have a good one.
All right.
Yep. Later, guys.